there, lovelies, it's Sarcasm the Sickness, and today I'm coming at you with another speed drawing. These are two Pokemon characters that was part of a story that I was doing on DeviantArt and ended up not continuing it, just because, well, a bunch of different reasons. There's no reason to really go into it right now, but, the larger one, obviously, is a Zoroark, and the smaller one is a little Tyrant baby who would have been his accidentally adopted child, kind of thing. I honestly had a lot planned for this story, but just circumstances kind of made it that I just didn't continue it. So, oh well, I guess. I will let you know that I really did love Casimir, the Zoroark. Oh my god, he was so cool. And I kind of, this is the first drawing that I've done of him in a while, and it actually turned out good, so I'm really happy about that. And this is the first time that actually the Tyrant would be revealed, because in the story he starts off by having an unhatched egg, and like the mystery was like, oh, I don't know what the egg will hatch into, maybe it's not even alive anymore, maybe it's already dead, maybe it's a dud egg, you know, and it ends up hatching into a little male Tyrant. And well, their story would have been pretty cute and pretty dramatic, but oh well, I never ended up continuing it, and you know what, that's okay. I've got other projects to work on, but I figured I might as well do this as a homage to them, because I know there's a lot of people on my DeviantArt who would love to see what the egg was supposed to hatch into, so this is for you guys. Alright, now for the next few minutes, this is a bit of a shorter video, but I figured I might as well take this little bit of time to talk to you about something pretty serious. And this is a happy drawing, so you can listen to me talk about sad things over top of a happy drawing, so hopefully that'll lighten the load a little bit here. But, from what I understand, Robin Williams just passed away, and at least from what I've heard, it was deemed to be a suicide. And that he was struggling with depression for a long time now. Now, obviously this news is... Well, by the time this video is uploaded, the news is probably going to be like 3 days late, so if you didn't already know that, then, life spoiler alert, sorry about that. But, a lot of what has been happening right now is people really, really talking about depression when we, as a society, kind of don't do that. We don't really acknowledge that it's a thing and that it's a very real, very scary mental illness to have. And as somebody who used to suffer pretty badly from depression, I figure this would be the perfect time for me to really talk about it with you guys, because I know some of you have already mentioned to me that you have struggled or are still struggling with depression, and I want you to know that you're not alone, and that's the feelings that you're feeling, probably millions of other people are feeling or have felt at one point in their lives. I'm not exactly sure how common depression is. I know it's one of the more common ones alongside bipolar disorder, which tends to have some similar effects on the human body and on the human mind. But I want to talk about it just a little bit from somebody who has suffered depression and has gotten to the point where I can see that things are going to get better, you know? Now, when I was diagnosed back in 11th grade, I had already probably been suffering from it since about middle school, and I think it may have started mainly because of all the bullying that I was suffering, and I had really just no friends and nobody to talk to, and I didn't know that I could talk to my parents about this kind of thing because I wasn't really aware of like the trauma that it really was inflicting on me. I kind of was under the impression that I had to just suck it up and deal with it. And honestly, as somebody within depression, in the time that I've suffered from it, I've heard that a lot, that kind of mentality. It's like, well, why not just be happy? It doesn't work that way. And whether you're in the middle of of whatever it is that has caused you to feel this way, or if you're in the aftermath just sitting there looking at all the ruins around you going, how did I get here? Saying to somebody, just be happy, isn't gonna work. That's not the way it works, because depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain. Now, like, when somebody passes away, you can be depressed about that, and that's an appropriate human response. Death is sudden and shocking, and it can really take its toll on somebody mentally. But clinical depression is very different, where you're just sad all the time, or a majority of the time, and for little to no reason. And I've sat around sometimes and been perfectly fine, and then literally a few minutes later, I'll be like on the verge of tears and looking at myself going, why are you sad? What happened within the last few minutes? And nothing needed to even happen most of the time. To be honest, a lot of the time, it was just because of that imbalance. It was just because that's what was happening at that point. There was no rhyme or reason for it. It's just what was happening, and now I had to deal with it. And it's tough. It's really tough to try to live a normal life and feel this way a lot of the time. And it's not, I mean, and by the time that I figured out that I was suffering from it, I already had like a decent amount of friends who really cared about me. I had a boyfriend at the time who really cared about me. I had family who really, really cared about me, and my parents did just about everything that they could to try to understand it and to try to help fix it. Even if at first they were kind of in denial about it, like, well, maybe it's just a phase, maybe we should get over it, but when they realized how much of a problem it was, like, they put their best foot forward with it. They really did, and I commend them for that, and I'm so happy that they did that for me. But, like, if, at that point in my life, there was no reason to be sad all the time. I wasn't doing decently in school, actually. Probably the depression is what caused me to do so poorly. But, like, I wasn't, like, having too much trouble with the material. I had friends, I was being social. I didn't have an excuse to be sad, and that kind of put me in denial for myself. Like, I didn't want to admit that I was sad all the time because there was no reason to be. And I think that's kind of a trap that we who suffer from depression get into, that we sit around and go, well, why am I depressed? There's no reason to be depressed. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got this, I've got that. There is no reason for it. And please, if you are suffering from depression right now, do not do that to yourself. Do not look at yourself and go, well, why? I have no reason to be sad. Because you do. I guess it's this chemical imbalance that is afflicting you. And it's not your fault. It really isn't. It never is your fault. And don't sit around and say, like, well, other people have it so much worse than me. I'm sure they do. But that doesn't make your sorrow, it doesn't make your sorrow irrelevant. It doesn't mean that your pain and your misery doesn't matter just because somebody else is out there who feels or is doing physically worse than you are. Your feelings are validated. And they're important. And you are important. And that was something I had to learn the hard way. It took me so long to realize for myself that I was important and that I mattered and that I needed to go get help because what I was doing wasn't working. And I want you to realize that. If you right now have ever suffered from depression or are suffering now, please know that you are important and your life matters and it's going to get better. It really, really is. And and I know because I've been there, I know when I say it's going to get better, it doesn't seem like it's going to get better. And you're not going to believe me. Because I didn't believe anybody when they told me. But it did get better for me. And it got better when I finally sat down and made some choices in my life. I made some choices about things that were bothering me. I made the choice to stop looking at current media because it made me depressed, to think about all the people dying out there and all the really terrible stuff that's happening. I stopped looking at the media because I couldn't handle that. It was making me upset. I stopped talking to certain people in my life because they were dragging me down too. And I feel bad about that a little bit because one of the people who I cut out was really suffering from depression as well, but he wasn't good for me. He was making my life even worse, or my depression even worse, and I needed to make the decision for myself to to cut him out and to say, I'm important, I am more important than this. And it sucks, and it's gonna hurt if you have to cut these things out and you have to do these things, but you matter. And talking to somebody about it isn't a bad thing, it really isn't. But you have to talk to yourself about it too. You have to talk to yourself and tell yourself that it's gonna be alright, and that you're gonna be okay, and that it's gonna be better. Life really is going to be better for you. It was for me, and it was for so many other people who have beat depression. So just remember that, guys. Feel free to ask me questions about depression and stuff in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this art and you enjoyed my talk about depression, please leave a like on this video, and if you're new, go and check out my other videos and subscribe. Alright, see ya.